Well, heavy industry, science and technology firm Zoomlion says it has not been contracted by the Volta River Authority to undertake any form of fumigation exercise in communities affected by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. Investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri impugned impropriety when he took to Facebook to criticize an officer of the VRA for announcing plans to contract Zoomlion for fumigation activities in communities affected by the spillage of the dam. But Zoomlion says the allegations are baseless and lack any factual basis. Let's bring you excerpts of the statement released a couple of minutes ago by Zoomlion, titled Zoomlion Ghana Limited and matters relating to the fumigation exercise. It points out that the attention of the management of the Zoomlion Ghana Limited has been drawn to a report on social media dubbed Ibrahim Mahama, Zoomlion and Serious Questions for VRA, which stories seek to suggest that Zoomlion Ghana Limited has been contracted by the Volta River Authority to undertake fumigation of the lower Volta areas affected by recent controlled spillage from the Akosombo Dam. Now, that statement continues to point out that management will categorically want to refute this misleading, false and unfortunate assertion by one Manasseh Azuri, who has for the past 10 years sought to level various forms of allegations against Zoomlion to no avail. The recent publication is a demonstration of Manasseh's clear disregard for journalistic integrity and professional ethics, as is expected of a professional of his caliber. Then they go ahead to point out that, quote, "We want to emphasize that Zoomlion Ghana Limited has not been contracted by the Volta River Authority to undertake any fumigation activity in the said affected area, as claimed by Mr. Awini. His allegations are baseless and lack any factual basis. It is disheartening that in his pursuit of sensationalism and cheap popularity, Mr. Awini has chosen to interpret, to misrepresent the facts, as the statement is pointing out." And then they go ahead to talk about the fact that on Monday, the 23rd of October 2023, Zoomlion Ghana Limited, led by its executives and management, presented a number of relief items worth over 500,000 cedis to victims of the spillage. Additionally, a sister company, which is Akosombo, also donated almost 500 life jackets to the media and rescue team supporting the situation on the ground. Now, at the same time, the presentation, that's at the same presentation event, the company, in addition to the items presented, announced its intent to also fumigate the areas once the water had receded. It is therefore regrettable, as the statement is pointing out, that Mr. Manasseh Azuri has chosen to overlook the notable humanitarian efforts undertaken by Zoomlion and its sister companies in support of flood victims, a gesture which was widely covered by various media outlets. Yet, Mr. Awini chose to disregard these facts and propagate misleading information, and also he was peddling his usual falsehood against the one company that has been at the forefront of keeping Ghana clean, green and healthy. And this is deeply concerning, the statement says. Management wishes to challenge Mr. Manasseh Awini to provide evidence to substantiate his claims and allegations regarding the alleged contract awarded to the company. We remain unwavering in our commitment to uphold our corporate social responsibility and providing steadfast support to the communities in the Volta region, and in other ways to also to support the motherland Ghana, despite the unwarranted distractions which are caused by such baseless accusations. So this is the latest we're receiving from Zoomlion Ghana Limited. Let's hear from Adam Senano, who's co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's also serving on the AU's advisory board against anti-corruption. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us. The latest from Zoomlion Ghana Limited, the position it has on this whole fumigation exercise, which it will be carrying out in all districts affected by the flood waters caused by the spillage of the dam. But beyond that, looking at the challenge which is now being thrown to Manasseh Azuri, do you feel that that should put matters to rest? The fact that at least Zoomlion says it is just simply doing this as service to the nation?
Well, I think that it's always good to do a cross-check. For some reason, I thought I had seen some announcement by VRA to this effect. Perhaps maybe it's in Manasseh's write-up rather. But I think it would be good to connect with Manasseh and find out whether he has evidence to the contrary. Then we can draw a final curtain on whether Zoomlion is right about this.
But the argument has been made, sorry, Adam, that some officials, at least of the Volta River Authority, are on record to have said that Zoomlion was contracted. As to whether or not it was a matter of semantics, indeed, there were some pronouncements that Zoomlion was going to carry out this fumigation exercise.
I think that's probably exactly what I was referring to, that I thought I'd read somewhere something from VRE to that extent. And so I'm quite sure that over the next 24, 48 hours, we'll be hearing from Manasseh making reference if there were individuals who said this. And so it's a third-party reportage that he's using. And so the picking on Manasseh as someone who has an agenda may not fly if we're able to show that there was a VRA or some VRA officials were the ones who said this. In any case, I think that the bottom line simply is this. How much more support can we give these communities that are certainly struggling? How can we galvanize more items that can make their lives more comfortable? And what is the roadmap towards making sure that things turn around? Somehow we seem to have a silence around a national coordinated effort to make sure we have a clear path forward. And that would have been helpful. And if Zoomlion is committing to give resources to that and supporting free of charge, that would be great news.
I see. The company in question is not new to the Ghanaian space and the anti-corruption space as well, knowing the background to why possibly Manasseh might be raising some of these concerns, and the World Bank reports on some of the activities and dealings of the company and other issues, which has been a long drawn fight between this very investigative journalist and the company itself. Should that matter when it comes to an issue of a national emergency such as this? The fact that victims and continue to be displaced by the activities of the floodwaters. Now the floodwaters are receding and public health should be placed first. Should we be equally concerned about, anti-corruption, corruption and all of that related matters now? Should that also be a concern?
Well, if recent history is anything to go by, when we've had crisis, we've had the corruption entrepreneurs who suddenly jump on board and find ways of scamming Ghanaians and making money off the plight of Ghanaians. It doesn't matter whether they are vulnerable and are struggling. And so under COVID, all of a sudden, you had people hiking up prices, and those who were saying they're offering services, those who were saying that they were going to import vaccines and the pricing, you're not quite sure how they got the pricing, etc. So it is a period that all of us as Ghanaians need to pay a lot more attention to the kinds of services that are being provided, the contractual arrangements, and the costing of same. I think it is a time where we should be concerned about whether people want to take advantage of the system and defraud us of the resources that we already don't have to take care of basic necessities.
Adam, I just want you to stay with us briefly because the majority leader has been commenting on this matter. He points out in Parliament that officials of the Volta River Authority will be made to answer some questions in Parliament over the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. We know that more than 30,000 residents along the river have been displaced, with properties running into millions of cities. We'll hear from the majority leader first, but just the fact that he's been pointing that out, that some officers of the VRA would have to answer in Parliament. We'll get to that shortly, but what's your take even before we hear from the majority leader?
I think that that is a very relevant step to take. I have been wondering, I mean, yes, we've been told that VRA is a very effective communication architecture, but from the ground, it appears that information ended up at district assemblies who did not pass it on to residents. We've had parents of people calling that they had no idea in spite of the fact that there appeared to be a system in place, it doesn't look like the necessary work had been done, such that they had clear understanding of you're moving from this point to higher ground here. These are the areas demarcated. These are the people who support you. There has not been that kind of comprehensive approach to this crisis. And if we don't learn from it now, then the likelihood is that we're going to have these repetitions, and sometimes probably with much more dire consequences than we have experienced this time. So it is an important exercise for the persons involved, those at the helm of affairs, to be asked, what kind of emergency systems did you have in place? What kind of information flow? What kind of support systems to ensure that citizens, would be afforded the protection and the safety and security they desired? How did we ensure that we didn't make the kind of losses we are seeing now? I mean, the kind of properties, businesses, it's really gargantuan. And I think that that kind of effort from Parliament and perhaps other bodies would make it much more likely that next time we'll do a better job of protecting citizens in the country.
Mm. We're just looking forward to, that parliamentary session. For you, what should be the key issues for us to look out for beyond, the spillage and how that has affected communities? Is there anything more in terms of contractual agreements that we should be scrutinizing?
Well, I would be interested in finding out whether the moment, I know NATMO is at the heart of this, but what systems do we have to ensure that efforts are coordinated, are targeted, and they are not silos, people doing things independently, and at the end of the day, we don't get, the kind of impact in terms of alleviating the situation that the citizens have. And in that instance, how are we guarding the resources that come in to ensure that we don't have individuals and perhaps some groups taking advantage of the situation? It will be interesting to find out, do we have a system? Do we have a mechanism? Do we have a coordinated effort? Do we have somebody, I haven't seen that so far. And I'm sure that there are many Ghanaians who are bothered that how do we approach these kinds of crises without a system in place and without the necessary, reviews that could be done, whether it's weekly or monthly, and everybody is being given some feedback, some information, so that we can follow and appreciate that the things are improving and we're making headway. I think that some kind of review in that direction would be useful.
All right. Grateful for spending some time with us, Adam Senanu.